All right, everybody, let's analyze these photos. We're starting at the front of the property. A couple of things jump out at me here. This blind's closed. You always want to open up blinds in the front or the rear of any exterior shots. And the other tip I can tell you about is our solar flare tip. See all this flare and shadow here from the sun? That's because the photographer didn't actually use his or her hand to cover the sun in the shot. I'm going to give you a really quick tutorial now. So let's pretend that's the sun. What you actually want to do, if you're shooting towards it, like in this scenario, you actually want to cover all of the sun with your hand. You don't want to cover any of the house, any tree foliage behind it, just the sky and the sun. And then you want to take your brackets as per usual. What BoxBrownie.com then does is removes all of your hand, removes any of that shadow that you don't actually get, and you'll get that magazine quality print every time. So cover the sun with your hand, shoot the brackets, all these troubles go away, and your shots are always going to look nicer. Here we have like a living area shot. A few things here that jump out at me. I probably would have removed these couple of stools here. This mirror looks fairly mobile, so I probably would have got that out of the shot. Our cushions here are all looking straight, which is nice. Can't complain there. I actually would have shut this window because I can see it's open, and then I would have shut the blinds like we've spoken about in other videos, partially closed, partially open, so you don't actually see those neighbors outside. And why I'm closing the window is so that the wind doesn't actually blow the curtains around. I actually would have shot this shot a little bit more. See how we have the hallway wall here? I actually would have included the other hallway wall in the shot also, because this actually shows true size of the room. And then lastly, I would have opened up this door so I would have known what's outside. But anyway, we'll move forward. A couple of things that I do like, this fan's turned off, which is great. You don't want moving subjects. And lastly, I would have removed this power cord out of shot. This shot would have looked a lot nicer if these few things were done. Even lastly, you could even rip up this carpet mat here and even got rid of this nice shell here in the corner. Really would have made this shot turn instantly fabulous. Anyway, all is good. We'll move on. Here you can see the photographer's almost done the blind trick, which is great. You could have actually partially closed those a bit more. There's a few items here on the bench tops. Obviously, less is more, so things like toasters could always go. You've got the cafe sandwich toaster here. Those things really jump at me. Even the chopping block here and the knives probably could have went. These sorts of bits in the corner are okay. Maybe this water bottle could have went. This knife sharpener here could have went as well. Would have created a bit more of a nicer shot. Look, I can see what the photographer's done here. They've tried to shoot up the kitchen guts, which is great. It does show the oven, it does show that the cooktops and also the sink, which is all a good thing. And it does show plenty of storage. So look, well done there. Not much else that could have been done realistically. Here we have a bedroom. What I would have done straight away was straighten off all this bed covers here. Looks very creased and wrinkly. That could have easily been fixed. I'm not sure if this lamp did work. Sometimes they don't. But look, I would have turned it on if so. We do have a blind outside, which is an outdoor blind. What would have been great is if that was actually brought down to the top of the fence. Instead of using the Venetian blinds inside, I would have used the outdoor blind outside. And look, lastly, this fan, you can actually see that it's actually bolted down to this cabinetry. I probably would have shot straight past it, so it wasn't actually included in the shot. It does look a bit old, it does look a bit dated, and you could have even shot more towards this side of the bed type, this side of the bedside table just to remove it. But look, it's a fairly old house. It is what it is, but look, if you want your marketing to look best, these are small tips you can make. Once again, we have a cord here I would have removed. These are TV remotes I would have removed. I'm not sure if these work. There is two, so I'm sure one of them would have worked out the two. Let's pretend this one didn't work. It's always best to have this one turned off as well, which is probably the scenario the photographer's taken here. I also would have shut this window. You can see it's open. I can tell here by the quality, the difference quality in the glass. One thing that jumps out at me that's a little bit poor on this behalf of this photographer, this is a moisturizer bottle. That does not need to be there. I would have taken that out of the shot. And lastly, I would have actually covered this little bit of mattress here showing more with the white doona that's here on the bottom of the bed. Apart from that, a couple of small changes. You could have even shot this shot, maybe cropped it here and shot more this way, so you got less of this bulky, all this bulky furniture in the shot. Never looks great in images. You could have even stood more from the doorway and include more of the door and the door handle in that shot, like we've spoken about in other tutorials. Roughly, that's the door. Let's pretend that's the handle. That sort of thing. I think would have really made this shot a lot nicer. Good points. The rest of the bed looks fairly free of creases. There's a couple here, but look, not too bad to be honest. So, a couple of small changes, and I suppose lastly, I can actually see the neighbour outside there actually, which is quite funny. And I would have brought these blinds down. There's always something to look for in real estate photos. So, as a photographer, as you're taking the shots, always scan the room for anything else you may have missed, because I guarantee there's always something small. Here we have, I suppose, a living area shot that joins the kitchen. What jumps out at me is, I'm just trying to find my mouse cursor, is our dish sink rack here. I would have taken that out of the shot. See you later. I also would have removed these oven mitts and this soap dispenser. I probably would have angled it so this little bit here, which is probably the TV, wasn't in the shot, but they're probably trying to incorporate more of the kitchen, so I can kind of see that. We have a bit of plastic here on the ground. Would have been nice if this was ripped up. Always creates more space in shots. And speaking of, if you are owner or the real estate agent marketing this property, I would actually remove this big Persian rug here. The amount of space you're going to save by removing this is crazy. And even these CD racks here could have probably gone if they're not really being in use. The photographer's not really expected to move larger items like that, but this would make the room look a lot nicer. It does appear that something has been hidden behind this this pillow. You can actually still see the cord, so I would have made that get out of the way. And see how this fan is a bit blurry? That's because either the window was open or the fan was on and it was still moving when the photographer took the shots. I'm always a big fan of having off fans so they're nice and sharp. The buyer can see what they're looking for. But look, this is a very bulky couch. There's not a lot that can be done with this shot. A couple of small items there I would have moved, and it would have really freed up space in this image. Oh, lastly, I would have probably even opened up that door too. And that one there as well. As I said, there's always something I can pick at a real estate photo, so I love it. Okay, this shot here. It's shot a bit high. See, there's a lot of roof up here. However, there's probably a good reasoning for that because they're shooting over this bulky couch. These should have been removed. Not needed there. And there's also a chair here. I would have taken that out of the shot. See how we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines here? There really only needs to be 1, 2, 3, because if you close that window, it actually gets rid of most of those, 2 of those extra lines. So that's all things that are, making your shots look less appealing. Also, this string here really jumps out at me. I probably would have wrapped this up here if I was the photographer. And there's even something here that's, maybe, I suppose, a door lock or a window lock. I would have taken that out of the shot as well. Few bulky items here. That's sort of why this shot doesn't look its best. If you had to remove those few items, it would have looked a hell of a lot better. Let's move on. Okay, we're on the outside of the property. Things that jump out at me, of course, are these items here. Photographer could have quickly removed at least, the spade and the shovel, and those other couple of smaller items could have been just plonked or just hidden around here in the corner. Not really needed. They do jump out at me, but look, there's not much we can do because the shots are already taken. If you wanted to get rid of them, of course, BoxBrownie.com can always remove items and clutter from your shots like this. And look, see how this image is actually being, I suppose this has been shot cropped out. I'm not actually at this property. I do know it's a duplex from the front shots. If possible, it is always good to try and finish off the rest of the home. Let's pretend that was the roof line. Just so you're not cropping anything off. It does always look nice when you actually include the whole home and the whole roof line in shots. Of course, every property is different, so, but look, that's just a good tip that I've picked up from this shot. We're off to the bathroom next. I think this is actually being cropped because see how I'm never a big fan of actually cropping the basin out. I like to see the tapware, I like to see the taps, and all that sort of thing. I also do like to see the mirror that should have been here. These items here are actually quick and easy to move, so these should have really been removed. You could have went as far as even, moving this candle over here for a bit of color and taking this soap dispenser out. If you do want a quick, good hiding spot for all this clutter, just dump it straight in the bath, quick and easy. I also would have shot this shot, maybe a foot or two back. I would have actually incorporated a bit of door in the shot. And speaking of doors, I definitely would have opened up this door here to create more space. There's enough drawing in that image. I'm sure you get the hints. Well, there you have it. There's a professional photo shoot analysed. I hope you learned something. If you want us to analyse one of your photo shoots, send us the realestate.com or the Zillow or the realtor.com link, and we'll analyse them the best way we can. And look, we're here to make your marketing and your photos look sharper and online to get more phone calls to your listing. Thanks for watching, and we'll check you out in the next ones.